All right, everybody, welcome to our second Saturday Spotlight. And each week we're just doing a really quick hit, a really quick spotlight on something that pertains to our business, entertainment. And this week we are absolutely thrilled to feature Clayton Winters. Do you like James or do you like Clayton better?
I go by Clayton personally.
Okay,
If
great.
my professional name has a letter in it, and if you're the government, you call me James. That's how
Okay.
I differentiate who I know and how I know them.
Fabulous. Well, James is a director, he's a choreographer, he's a fight coordinator, he's a teacher, he's an equity actor, and the specialty, the thing that we're covering this week is, tell them the theme.
Is become an audition boss, how to beat your audition anxiety. 3 steps you can take today to take control of your auditions and have your best year yet.
Great. And so we're going to let you jump in. Everybody write down questions because the last 10 minutes or so we'll let you answer. He'll answer some questions that you might have. All right. And hit it.
Awesome. So just as a preface, I have for the last 3 years been operating not only as a professional actor, but also as a career coach for early career performers and helping folks transition from college into the professional world, and from that first 1 to 2 to 3 years of the professional world from whatever region they're in and towards New York City. And so I have developed a series of master classes and curriculums and steps that wound up being beneficial for me. They were the things that I employed when I went back to being a professional performer full time from when I was the director of musical theater at a university in Birmingham. And so what I found is they worked for me, and I started sharing them with others. I've got a 2-hour masterclass event that I give all over the U.S. And I'm going to give you about 20 minutes, and I'm going to give you the most important 20 minutes of that, because the things that I'm going to share with you today are going to fundamentally change how you approach the day that you audition. Okay, so I'm going to give you about 20 minutes of a 60-minute class, which is part of a 2-hour teaching and a 2-day experience. It's going to be like drinking from a water hose. I hope that's okay. That's why writing questions down is going to be important, so that we can fill in the gaps at the end. Is everybody cool with that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, okay. I can't see your heads nodding. I just assume that they are. So
Yep.
I'm going to share my screen with you real quick. Make sure my microphone is on, start this broadcast, and this is going to pop into, you should be seeing a white screen now.
Yep.
And now I'm going to take you to my keynotes. All right, so here we go, folks. Become an audition boss. This is a webinar I teach regularly, but I'm going to give you the meat of it right now. We're going to beat audition anxiety. I can't wait to get started, and I hope that you're ready for that. My name is Clayton Winters. I'm an Actors Equity Performer. I'm an MFA, and I'm the lead coach and consultant at auditionboss.com. Now, I'm going to show you 3 steps that you can use today to take control of your career and to beat audition anxiety. This is the #1 question that our more than 1,300 group members have asked me to address, to research, to study, and to find solutions for, is what do you do with the moment when your body sort of like takes over and runs away with you, even though you already know the song. Sometimes you know the people behind the table, you know you're perfect for the role, but still you have like this physical freak out moment. And I'm going to tell you that there are ways to address that. I'm going to give you 3 tips that you can do today. Now, this is usually in my presentations when I say, if you stay to the end, I've got something for you. And that is that I always like to share a free copy of one of my favorite musicals with folks. I keep a score just on hand so that I can share that with people. If you're interested in that, go to our Facebook page. You can find us on Facebook at The Audition Boss. And then through that page, join a group, remind me that I met you here, and then I will be sure to send you my favorite musical score because I think it's important to share the art that we love with people, and sharing the art that we love with people, that's how we are going to affect great change in the world. All right. This is a short story about me. I started out as a child performer in Kansas City. You can see me in the top right corner doing one of my first shows, and that's Gypsy. I'm sure you're familiar with it. When I figured out I could hang out with beautiful ladies and wear makeup all the time, it was like the best idea I'd ever had. And so as a kid, I started working in Kansas City. And by the time I was 12, I had worked at 3 of the top equity theaters in the city. And all of a sudden, it was like my job. I just realized like you could get paid to do this. And that changed everything for me. I immediately just associated myself as being a theater performer, a professional. And from then on, I had no real friends because I was a total weirdo. I was so passionate about acting that I actually transferred high schools just so I could continue to work in better and more interesting productions. I went to a great university. I went to the University of Oklahoma, and I studied MT and drama there. And I noticed something while I was there, that even though I knew I was right for the roles I was auditioning for, I had this moment. It was always at the same place. It was right outside the door. Whenever they would say, okay, Clayton, you're next, like my guts would turn inside out, my legs would shake, my hands would start to sweat, my diaphragm would absolutely freak out, my breathing would go out the window, and then like I would begin to have like chaos fantasies. Like my brain would say, like, you're gonna walk in and a bear is gonna eat you. And I knew that wasn't the case, but that's what I felt. And after I graduated, I found myself working all the time because you're an actor and that's what you got to do, especially in a small theater market. I had 4 different jobs. I was a barista. I worked at a hotel. I was teaching guitar. I was I was working at a fitness center as well. And I was auditioning, and I was getting enough positive results that I felt okay going back to the auditions, but I wasn't getting the results I wanted. And some of the results I was getting were even confusing, where people would say, yeah, I think he can do it. And I'm standing right in front of them in the room. And I'm pretty sure they're not supposed to have that conversation with me there. And I'm thinking like, yes, I can do it. Please just sign a check with my name on it. And then they would look at me and they go, okay, thank you. And I just was baffled by this. And if there was anybody who had the wisdom about how to succeed in my city, they were not sharing it with me. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing now. Like, I don't want you to take 5 to 10 years to figure it out for yourself. Wisdom is being able to learn from other people's mistakes. I did not have wisdom as a young performer, so I had to learn for myself. But I know that I can share this information with you. I know that the thing that needed to change for me was how I approached auditioning holistically, like from the beginning. And I have figured out things that now work for me, and they work for people that I share them with. So we're going to jump forward in this process to 3 things that you can do today to take over, all right, your auditions. All right, so number 1, and you need to know that auditioning, beating audition nerves is actually very easy. It's not all in your head, right? You've probably thought like, I don't know what happened. I just freaked out. And somebody told you, just have positive thoughts or imagine them in their underwear, or whatever old axiom they tossed at you. There is not one single thing you can think to make you audition better. But there are things that you can do because it's not in your head. The answer is literally in your body, okay? And we've all had that audition, right? We've all been standing on the line, and all of a sudden your heart starts to beat in your ears, your breath begins to go haywire, your legs begin to shake, and right about the moment that you feel like you couldn't be freaking out anymore, they say, okay, you're next. Good luck. And so the real question is like, what is your body thinking? Because in your head, you're like, this is not, stop freaking out. Stop breathing like that. Just get control of yourself. You're prepared for this. You've worked this song forever. You know what to do. So there's this disassociation What is your body thinking that has got your body freaking out like this? Literally, death. Your body is afraid that you're going to walk into that room and you are going to die. They think your body thinks that on the other side of that door is a booby trap or a bear or some kind of monster, right? And what you're experiencing is a chemical hormonal response to a life or death situation. That's why every part of you wants to run away. You're experiencing a chemical reaction. It's triggered in the brain. And so if there's a chemical reaction that starts in the brain, right? Your brain says, this is a high stress situation, we need to go. Your brain releases cortisol. Cortisol is the hormone related to stress. Cortisol is the gateway to adrenaline and noradrenaline. Adrenaline makes your whole body freak out, right? And it makes your heart pump faster. And then your heart begins to pump blood full of cortisol through the rest of your body, which causes the rest of your body to trigger adrenaline, which then pumps back into the brain, completes the circuit, and your brain is like, oh my God, I knew we were going to die. Quick, more adrenaline, let's go. Even right now, as I'm explaining this, my body is like, yes, this is a dangerous place to be. We should leave this meeting right now, right? And some of you listening to me may be thinking like, this guy is stressing me out. I can't watch, I can't do this anymore. That is a natural chemical response, right? So how do you overcome the chemical response? The next three things that I'm going to share with you are all based around that philosophy, okay? And it's not even a philosophy. There's scientific research to back up what I'm doing because I'm that kind of audition nerd, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So the path goes like this: brain into the blood, blood into the heart into the blood back into the brain, loops it all over again, and that's when you begin to have a freak out, right? So you can beat audition nerves with the 7 of 7. Okay, there was a 2017 study done by Chow Ma that saw that diaphragmatic breathing greatly decreases cortisol levels in participants, creating a sense of calm and confidence. That is amazing. There is a scientific study that shows by breathing deeply into your diaphragm like a singer would, you can stop the production of cortisol, which is the hormone that causes your body to start this freak out cycle, right? So when I'm standing in line, and if you want to know where that research is, that right there is the web address that you can go and read the study. So here's what I do, because this is what I personally do every single audition. Right about the moment I begin to feel my heart take over and my brain disassociate with my body, when I start thinking like, oh my gosh, I'm beginning to feel a little weird. Maybe it's the caffeine. That's when I start to breathe. 7 of 7, 7 breaths in for 7 counts. Then I breathe out for 7 breaths, right? 7 counts. 7 counts in, 7 counts out, 7 times. 7 7-second breaths. That is the very beginning of the process of overcoming your audition anxiety, right? Now, as far as I can tell, there are really only 2 reasons to be nervous in an audition. One of them is lack of preparation. One of them is lack of technique. If you are about to go into an audition and you do not know your song, you deserve to be nervous. There's nothing you can do to overcome that, okay? You did not prepare. You should be anxious. If you are about to walk into an audition and you know you are not in the right place, you will, ladies and gentlemen, God bless you, but you will not ever see me walking in to the Cats Dancers Ensemble call. Okay, I just know better. Okay, I love to sing. I love to act. There's a whole section of our world that would call me a dancer, and I dance. I'm not going to lie, but I am not a Cats kind of dancer. If you ever see me with a tail on, just send me home. Okay. If you are not prepared or you do not have the appropriate technique, it is appropriate for you to be nervous in your audition. But if you know that you're ready and you know that you've got the right skills for the audition that you're going into, then the anxiety that you're feeling is misplaced and you can overcome that anxiety. The very first step to do that is to apply these 7-second breaths for 7 repetitions, right? And it's not Clayton telling you this. It's not the audition boss guru telling you this. It's Jalma from his study in 2017. All right. You can also beat nerves with the power pose. And many of you may have heard this information before. When I got a hold of this information, it was given to me in a sort of like business effective management idea, right? That was the study. That's kind of where the study initiated. And I, as soon as I read it, I was like, this nerdy stuff right here, this scientific study, this is perfect audition technique material, okay? In 2012, Amy Cuddy did a study that showed that the physical postures that you take trigger a release of powerful anxiety combating hormones like testosterone. In the body, testosterone is like it's the opposite of cortisol. Cortisol triggers anxiety. It triggers a jump in adrenaline. Adrenaline is the thing that makes you fight or flight. It's the thing that makes you flight. Okay. Testosterone is the opposite of that. Testosterone, it creates an environment in your blood where cortisol is suppressed, where estrogen is suppressed, and where you feel more confident and you feel more sure about your decisions, okay? And testosterone actually leads to greater confidence and decisive choices, which is exactly what I want to feel when I walk into the room. I want to walk into the room feeling confident and sure about the decisions I'm going to make with my song and with my acting beats. Let's see, I think I've got there you go. You can find that study right there at that link. Now, there are 4 positions that Amy Cuddy studied, and she did this at Harvard back in 2012, okay? And they call them the power poses, right? You can take a wide stance. My personal favorite, they say stand in a V. I call it the starfish pose because I stand with my arms way over my head. You can do the Wonder Woman, right? Hands on your hips, or like Peter Pan, or you can cross your arms behind your head, and that works whether you're sitting or you're standing. Now, I'm a man of extremes. I'm either all in or I'm all out. And so if I'm going to do a power pose, you can guarantee that I'm doing the starfish. You will see me outside of every audition that I do. When there is someone in the room and someone in front of me, that's typically when I start breathing 7 of 7, right? That's going to take about 2 minutes to do that, controlled. What I'm doing is I'm suppressing my cortisol level, right? I'm causing my body to slow down the output of cortisol. And the next thing I want to do is I want to replace that with testosterone, the opposite of cortisol. And so when I step into the on deck position and the person in front of me walks into the room, my arms go in the air, right? And I'm standing there and I'm smiling and I'm looking at people and they're looking at me like this guy is a nut job. But I'll tell you what, I'm not terribly concerned about what the people in the line are thinking about me with my hands in the air. What I'm concerned about is what the people behind the table are thinking. And I know that when I walk into the room, I'm going to be more confident and more sure of my decisions because of the information that Amy gave me in her scientific study. All right. Now, there's one more thing I want to share with you. Okay. You can also beat audition nerves by changing your mind. Now, you'll remember that when we started this, I said there's no one thing you can think that will change your audition outcomes. Okay. But in combination with the other 2 things I've mentioned and what I'm about to share with you, you will see an improvement in your in the room interactions, and you will see an improvement in how you feel about what happens in the room. All right. So here, I'm going to share you one more thing. A lady named Angela Duckworth has been studying success in the face of deep obstacles for over a decade, okay? She wrote a book called Grit. And what she did in that study is she went to West Point and she tried to determine what is it that made successful West Point cadets different than the ones who dropped out, all right? Now, I'm going to tell you something, and it's just a fact of her study, okay? She said, it doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter if you're talented. It doesn't matter if you're white or black or brown or purple or green or magenta. It doesn't matter if you're educated. It doesn't matter if you have the aptitude for success. What she saw in her decade-long study is that those cadets who succeeded overwhelmingly had one thing in common, and it's that they had a positive affirmation that they employed daily. Okay, and I'm not talking about the like self-help tapes of the 80s where you plug it into your car and it says, I will make $1 million today. I will have a bright and beautiful future. They had this kind of gritty determination. And when she asked them why they thought they succeeded, they said things like, I'm just the kind of person who does hard things. Overwhelmingly, they said sentences about themselves like, quitting is not an option. And when she stood back and looked at the depth of answers, that was the one thing she was able to conclude, is that they had a positive affirmation that had a no quit DNA, right? So you're going to see me taking 7 seconds 7 times in a row when there are 2 people in front of me. When I'm on deck, I'm going to stand there for about 2 minutes with my hands in the air, continuing to breathe deeply and envisioning what it's going to look like when I walk into the room and what I do next. And then when the person in front of me leaves the audition room, I'm not going to rush in to that open door while it's closing on me, right? I'm not going to predisposition myself to have a sense of desperation. Oh, I got to get in. I let the door close in front of me. I stand in front of the door. I take one more full breath to myself, because this is my time. And then I always say to myself, I'm made for this, and I love what I do. Now, you can't see me right now, but I can't help but say that sentence without smiling. And what that means is when I open the door, I am calm, I am confident, I know I'm going to make good decisions, and I've got a smile on my face as soon as I walk into the room. I'm in total control of my audition scenario. At that point, everything I can control, I'm controlling. And I walk into that room in a positive place, and I know that I've got about 7 seconds to make an impression on the people behind the table. And the very first thing they see of me is calm, cool, collected, confident, smiling, happy to be here, believes he's supposed to be here. And there's probably no better way to start an audition than that. Okay? Those are 3 things. Those are 3 physical things that you can do today. If you are prepared, if you know that your technique is appropriate for the task ahead of you, then there is no reason for you to be nervous. And if you are nervous, if you do have anxiety before you walk into the room, you've got to take the moment to stop and recognize that that is a chemical situation, and that you can actually take control of your body as well. And you can take control of the chemical situation that's going on inside of you. I have been reading these odd neurological studies for 20 years now, just because it's a personal passion of mine. And when I find information like this, it jumps out at me, and I look at it and I go, hey, this is audition technique. That's exactly what's going to happen. And then I employ it. Okay. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is what I have for you today. And now I hope I haven't run over,
Nope, that's
but I'm gonna stop sharing my screen.
okay.
It looks like there we
There we
go.
go. Great. And
And
that was awesome, by the way.
awesome.
I love to know what I can do to be in control of something because once again, you know, when you feel like it's not just random and you have no power, it gives you that extra edge and confidence. Does anybody have any questions that they raise your hand like that? Oh, okay, good. Lily, go ahead and ask your question.
Hi. So, when you deal with anxiety in your day-to-day life,
Mhm.
and then on top of that, you get like more anxious and more nervous when it comes to like an audition or like a big, thing, especially in regards to theater. Do you still feel like that breathing like helps you to really rein it in?
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, you don't know this yet, but one of the jobs that I do is I'm also a music director for a church in Fairfield, Connecticut. Right? We recently, just like so many other places, have had to entirely redo how we do our service. Yeah, we can't meet in public anymore. So we are broadcasting. So my job as a live production event coordinator, I have all of a sudden turned into a TV coordinator. Like I'm a broadcast coordinator now. This is not my home base. Okay. Every single week I am freaking out on some level. And then I have to step in front of the camera and lead a song. You will see me every Sunday. You won't see me because it's off camera. But at all points of my life, since I know that this information works, right? And they didn't do the studies because of auditioning. It just happens to help auditioning. You will see me stop at Gregory's, right? While I'm getting my coffee, and I'll sit down, I'll have my coffee, and I'll take a big breath, and I'll breathe. You will see me on a sunny day when there's just way too much going on, walking through my yard with my hands in the air, right? You will absolutely see me utilizing this all the time.
All right. Anybody else have a question? Yep, Sophie?
Yeah, I'm wondering how you would apply these techniques to someone who was filming a video audition, not a live video audition, but they were filming self-tapes, like to not make it take like 1,000 tries.
Perfect, perfect. I have an approach towards self-tape auditions, which is that I'm going to do my best, but I'm not going to kill myself, right? In the room, you're going to go and you're going to give it one shot. That's what you've got, okay? If you, and I don't happen to be this way, but I know some people who are never pleased with themselves, right? They're just never happy. It doesn't matter, right? It could be the best audition they've ever given, and they'll find something wrong with it, and they'll do 1 2-minute audition until 3 a.m. until they hate the world, and then they'll just go to bed and never send it, right? I do my self-tapes the same way I do my in-room auditions. If I have anxiety, I'm going to walk through these steps to bring myself back into alignment. And then typically I will do 3 takes, 2 to 3 takes, but never more than 4. If I can't get it in 4 takes, I'm not prepared. And if I'm not prepared, I don't want them to see me. I don't want them to see me unprepared, right? But that's one of the benefits with self-tapes. Like, you don't have to send them until you're ready. And if you know it's coming, it's like any other audition. You just take the time to prepare in advance, right? But I start and I knock one out and I don't like it. And then I make some changes in number 2. And then I probably hit my stride in number 3. And then I'm going to do number 4, but not like it as much. And then I'm just going to pick the one that is actually best.
Great.
Thank you.
Anybody else have a question? You got time for maybe one more? Hannah. Nope. You're on. There you go.
Yeah. Hi. So I noticed with myself at least, the the times that I actually get the most anxious are when the audition is the most personal. So if I know the people behind the table and they already have an impression of me and I'm trying to elevate it, and I care a lot what they think of me as a performer, and so there's more stakes than just the job or the role, is when I get the most anxious. So do you have a specific advice on how to combat that sort of anxiety?
Yes, yes, and. Okay, the first one is going to be like, I'm thinking about the multifaceted question you asked. And because I'm a storyteller, I begin thinking about the person at the table too. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to imagine all the characters involved in the story. So we'll get to that point. The first thing is, as you begin to audition professionally and you begin to audition more professionally, and you're auditioning in more regions, there are going to be a whole lot of strangers, right? So that's great for you. You don't have a problem with that. That's awesome. Audition for all the strangers, get all the jobs with the strangers. That's awesome. When you audition for people you know, I'm assuming you've auditioned for them before and you know them because you've worked with them before. That's actually one of the best situations to be in, because they know your strengths, they know your weaknesses, they know what you do, and you're probably in the room because they already have something in mind. You know what I mean? Like if I submit for something and it's at a theater I've worked at before and they know I'm not right, like they're gonna say, yeah, you're good. Next year we've got a show for you, And then I'm imagining the people as you are imagining them, right? The thing that you're afraid of is that the people you know are going to see you audition and then they're going to think less of you, right? If the people are the kind of people you're imagining, these are not the kind of people that I want to know anyway, right? If you audition for somebody and they know you, they really know you, and in 2 minutes they can think you are a worse person, that is not the kind of person I want to be working with personally, right? Who in 2 minutes is going to decide Hannah is not a valuable human, right? And what I'm actually saying is that our brains begin to justify the things that our chemical condition lead our brain to think about, right? It doesn't matter who's behind the table. Your brain, it does this jujitsu, right? It goes, oh my God, we're freaking out. Why are we freaking out? What's going on? Oh, it must be the people behind the table. What if they hate me? Right? Your brain doesn't know what's happening. Your brain thinks a bear is in the room. Your brain thinks you're going to be eaten. You're not going to be eaten. It's just 16 bars and a monologue, right? So I don't think the people that you're afraid of really exist. What I have learned over time is that the currency of our industry is relationships, right? And good relationships begat good opportunities, and good opportunities begat good relationships. And it becomes what's called a virtuous cycle, right? Good after good after good after good, right? So you prepare, you audition for the right things, you go into the room, you knock it out of the park, and then whether you are cast or not, they are left with a good impression. And you can walk out saying, okay, I've done everything that I needed to do. The only thing you can't control, I believe this firmly, the only thing you can't control in an audition is the decision that they make. Everything else is up to you. The song you sing, the clothes you wear, the monologue you do, how you treat the barista, what you do outside the room, what you do in the room, what you do at the piano, what you do after you leave the room, right? Like I'm super neurotic. I have a spreadsheet that has every audition I've done in the last 5 years. I can tell you what I wore. I can tell you who was at the piano. I know for a fact that the outfit that gets me the most jobs is a turquoise polo that is 60-40 poly cotton blend with a pair of gray chinos, okay? And I know when Bob Eugene or Jose are at the piano, I'm about to book, right? Because they're great and I love singing with them, and they're just always on projects that I'm ready to do, like, so, but that's my whole approach. You control everything you can control.
Okay, well, that was terrific, and I know that we could hear you talk for another 2 hours, but we don't want to take up your time, and we're loving these spotlights. We can get just a little bit of information quickly. You have a Facebook page. What's the Facebook page again?
The Facebook page is called The Audition Boss, and so if you look up and I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook with the exact same handle, hold on, this is your left, at The Audition Boss. You can find me on all 3 of those places. And we actually have a private Facebook group. So you can like the page and follow. But if you want audition notices, if you want, Q&As with casting directors, and these are folks that I know through my career. If you want more coaching and tips and community, which you guys have an amazing community already, then that's the currency, is community. Then like the page, join the group, and I can't wait to meet you guys soon.
And you will, because he's going to be involved with NPT as long as we can have him involved. So this was our first chance to see you and to have some of the students see you. So everybody give him some applause. Thank you so much. And enjoy the rest of your weekend, everyone. Thanks for spending it with us. Thanks, Clayton.
Cheers.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.